Okay.
And yeah, there he is.
Boy.
And
yes.
you got it back on.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
I've been waiting for this.
Everything is as it should be.
Yeah, fits perfectly.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I love this. Oh, he's got the thing. He's gonna. You son of a bitch.
Yes.
And he got. And he's got both. That was awesome. So great. Oh, he's back. He is back. Welcome back to New Rockstars. This is our reaction to The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 6, Chapter 14, The Tragedy. But can we really call it a tragedy if Boba Fett is reunited with his armor and finally lives up to his badass reputation in live action? Yeah, the Razor Crest is destroyed. Grogu is kidnapped. We are very scared. But hey, straight to Tython. We get Slave 1, some details about Jango, Dark Troopers, the Darksaber, Bill Burr. There is no filler.
Nope.
Thanks, Robert Rodriguez. This is Wookieeleaks, our Mandalorian after show. I'm Erik Voss here with Tommy Bechtold. Hey, buddy.
Hey, good to be here. What an episode. No filler is almost selling it short. Every element of that episode was all meat. All sweet baby Yoda meat.
A lot of meat on that bone.
Yeah.
A lot of meat on that bone. I took an improv workshop one time where the exercise was like, try to figure out whether a detail has something worth exploring, whether you follow that through line in the scene. Mm-hmm. And the coach kept saying, like, how much meat on that bone? All right, pause. How much meat on that bone? And everyone on the team was like, what the hell is he talking about? What is there meat on that bone?
I love that. It's like those, what were the crate dragon filet mignons that they left with?
Yeah, oh yeah.
There was a lot of crate dragon meat today.
A lot of meat.
Man.
And that crate dragon filet is what this episode was.
Absolutely.
Boy, so much stuff. And as you can tell, I'm back in the Blue Dungeon.
Welcome back.
Over.
Good to see you back.
But,
I'm back in my mom's room, so...
we're both more productive in our homes.
Only for a few more weeks, though. Very excited to debut my LA studio in January, so...
Oh,
yes.
Boy, you guys got to stick around to see what Tommy's come up with.
Barring me not being terminated for any Christmas content that I put out.
Yay! Oh, also, before we begin, a reminder that you can get your limited edition This Is the Way shirt exclusive from New Rockstars official merch store, newrockstarsmerch.com. We might still have a few more red and white varieties, but after the last of them are gone, back in the vault they go. But if you miss it, don't worry. There are also a bunch of new designs. We got some Easter egg shirts. They're filled with like hidden references to find. We got a boom, you looking for this shirt. And we just released an amazing new Grogu mugshot shirt. It's amazing how fast we got this out there, and I love this shirt.
Cute.
Definitely get your hands on that. And as always, when you buy this is the way shirt for just a few bucks more, you can also write in a custom shout out or a hot take, a theory or question, something that's going to appear beneath us in these Wookieeleaks episode. And you can actually see a couple. Let's see. Christina Guccione says, "Happy birthday, Mitch. I love you so much. I'll never get tired of watching this channel with you."
Oh,
well,
she's a keeper, Mitch.
She might be your mom.
Oh yeah. Never mind, Mitch. Either way,
she's still a keeper.
She's your mom keeper as well. She's a wonderful mother.
Also, Anetti Hernandez says, "Colby, if you see this, I'll send you $50.
Whoa!
So hopefully you see this, Colby. And you'll get
if you see this, you owe Erik and I $5 each as a commission.
Yes.
So just as a heads up.
Yeah, just a finder's fee. So we appreciate that. All right, Tommy. There's a lot that happened in this episode. Why don't you break it down for us?
Oh boy, yes, a lot that happened in this episode, but as we said, all fillers. So the Mandalorian arrives with Grogu on Tython immediately. We're off and banging. He finds the ancient temple on top of a mountain, not really hidden. I wouldn't say particularly hidden. It's the highest point on the planet, ostensibly.
Yeah, and a planet that looks a lot like Southern California.
Yeah, it looked a little bit. I was going to say, it's definitely Southwest. I was surprised there wasn't a mysterious monolith popping up. But So Mando does exactly what we'd expect him to do. He puts Grogu right on the rock in the center so that Grogu can choose his path. But of course, because Grogu is a 50-year-old toddler, he misbehaves, doesn't really do what he's supposed to do, which is frustrating. Then finally, finally he starts meditating, and a protective force field appears around him just in time for Boba Fett to arrive with mercenary Fennec Shand, complete with a robo abdomen, like a steampunk stomach, I would say. Which
that's like when Tommy and I start working out together, that's the kind of abs I want. Just like a machine that does it for me.
Absolutely. I want a steampunk stomach by March at the latest. So, we had theorized a lot about what was going to happen. So we actually see that Boba Fett is pursuing them to get his armor back, his Mandalorian armor back. Mando is immediately like, no, you're not a Mandalorian. And then they make a deal that Boba Fett and Fennec Shand will help him protect Grogu as long as he returns the armor. Just as two shuttles arrive, chock full of stormtroopers who cannot aim. So traditional stormtroopers, as we know, based on the fact that they can shoot anyone wearing Beskar. That's it.
Yeah. I do love that one called the other an idiot.
Sir, there's too much fire. Like them, you idiot.
Yes. To hear stormtroopers call each other idiots is super fun.
That was wonderful. The two shuttles arrive, and the stormtroopers just kind of, they filter out, they get gunned down. We get Boba Fett returning. He goes to steal his armor back. And boy, could I relate to this moment. Like, anyone who's ever tried to put something on that's like fit them 20 years ago felt for Boba Fett when he walked in and was like, I now wear a black turtleneck under my armor to cover up where the armor doesn't completely connect. It's like when I try on my old like football jerseys from high school, or like when I wear my jackets that I had when I was in high school. It's very nostalgic, but ultimately not very functional for comfort.
No. For when I did the Infinity Fans show that you were part of, I got this like form-fitting Spider-Man unitard, and it was right after I went through a period of starting to lose a lot of weight, so it just fit me okay.
Right.
And then like just 6 months later, we did a breakdown of Endgame on the channel, and then I had to put back on that Spider-Man costume for a bit at the end, and it did not fit the same.
I tell you, that's the story of my life. My weight has fluctuated so much over my adult life that like things that fit me even like a year ago, like you said, will be like, a baby doll t-shirt on me the next day. So anyway, back to a fun fantasy world where no one cares about your weight or counting calories.
Or running from boulders that are rolling directly toward you.
Little Indiana Jones vibe. So we get so the agreement's intact. Fett, Shand, and the Mandalorian, they join forces. They battle off the advancing stormtroopers. They kill most of them, or at least bludgeon them and cause permanent brain damage with that sand person staff that
the gaffy stick.
Yeah, exactly.
Shattering helmets.
There you go. That's the correct name. Thank you for identifying the correct name of the armor so that or weapon, so that I don't have to.
I probably said it wrong. Don't worry.
It's not. It's a Vesuvian war staff. Moff Gideon destroys the Mandalorian ship Razor Crest from orbit in a devastating moment, and in a moment that debunked a lot of those fan theories that Han Solo walked by the Razor Crest. In what was it, Force Awakens? So
or Rise of Skywalker.
Or was that Rise of Skywalker?
Was one of those people.
I was hoping that was not the case, but unfortunately it is. The Razor Crest is smithereens. So, or at least that Razor Crest. Maybe there's a new one coming along. Gideon sends 4 robotic dark troopers to fly down. They looked so much more human in the last episode that we saw them. Then they totally looked like Iron Giants to me in this episode. So they go down and capture the child, and then the light cruiser retreats into hyperspace. Fett and Shand say that their agreement is that they need to help them, they need to help Mando save the child, because that was the deal. Armor for protecting the kid, and the kid is now in danger. Mando seeks out now Marshal Cara Dune and her help breaking out the criminal Mayfield, my boy Bill Burr, in order to rescue Grogu. Impressed by Grogu's force powers, Moff Gideon informs Dr. Pershing the midichlorian donor is available. What a creepy scene that was.
Yeah,
when he pulled out the Darksaber and was like, you like it? No touching. You like it? Anyway, that's what happened.
He was right not to touch it, but I think it was just the idea of a lightsaber. And man, that Darksaber was cool. It's cool to see an indoor light, The way it retracted was interesting. It didn't have that same like suck sound. It was just kind of like a blah.
Yeah.
So it went back in.
Very elegant.
Loved it. And I don't know about you, Tommy, but when he pulled out, I guess the Beskar spear from the wreckage of the Razor Crest makes sense. When he found that little ball knob, I was like, Really? That survived intact? I don't really see a lot of other fuselage in here, but that thing, there's something about that.
I feel like someone theorized that little thing was the tracking thing, which I guess wouldn't have made sense because it was from season 1, but maybe they replaced it if it's a replaceable part. I thought that would have been a brilliant theory. But
that would have been interesting. When Baby Yoda, when Grogu was playing with it, it had a like a blue part of it, and I can't remember if the blue part of it was there in season 1. I'd have to go back and
I can't either, and I won't go back. I never look back, Eric. Only forward, always onward.
I gotta hand it. Robert Rodriguez, such a great action director, and he really kept the pacing going on this episode. You know, like the tension as Din Djarin was racing back up the hill to get to the sleeping child, you know, as we know these dark troopers were coming down. Such great like cutting back and forth. Like stormtrooper shootouts were really fun. I love how there's like a second wave of stormtroopers just when you feel like you're okay. There's like another wave, and just like, you know, in the series they always keep coming. You never completely run out. So yeah, this is great and a heartbreaking, tragic episode in a lot of ways. But as we move on to what the deeper meaning of this episode was, I think, you know, there's some confusion over what that tragedy exactly was. Like, obviously, we all felt this pang of dread at the beginning of the episode where it's like, the tragedy. Right. We're like, oh, shit, what's it going to be? And yeah, we are very much at a rock bottom. You know, Grogu is finally in the hands of Moff Gideon. And that was not the case before. He's been in the hands of Dr. Pershing and the client, but not Gideon. Mando's longtime ship, the Razor Crest, is gone. Honestly, I don't know about you, Tommy. That loss hurt a lot more for me. It was kind of shocking. Weirdly understated.
Yeah. It was a shocking kind of like, first of all, destruction of a lot of fan theories, which is always an interesting, you know, when we do this for work, it makes me look at episodes differently than I would. Like, I'm like, oh man, so many people have put so much emphasis on what the Razor Crest is and what it will mean going forward. And now it's just gone. Now it's just exploded.
When you name a ship like that and you spend a lot of time on it and you build these attachments to it. Now, granted, this is not the Millennium Falcon getting destroyed. No, but I would say this isn't even the DeLorean getting destroyed in Back to the Future Part 3. But it's almost like if you're watching Rebels for 4 seasons and then the Ghost gets blown up. Right. You know,
but I would say that. Yeah, and I would say that much like the Millennium Falcon, a lot of the like relationship development between Mando and the child happened in the cockpit of the Razor Crest. You know, a lot of like Mando being a little more vulnerable than we ever see him in like those private moments with just him and the child, where he's trying to like teach him or discipline him even, or, you know, like whatever. It's like a lot of those cute kind of father-son moments happened there.
If these dirty hull walls could talk. You could argue that this season has kind of been setting us up for that. You know, they have taken the Razor Crest through everything. They submerged it in water. They patched it together with Mon Calamari netting. They they had ice spiders tear it to pieces. Right. Like, the thing has been in rough shape. However, I would argue that's like, you know, slowly watching your dog start to get sick and isn't able to hold itself up anymore. That makes it sadder in a way that you foreshadowed it like that. But yeah, this had me wondering what the real tragedy of the episode was. Was it Grogu? Was it the Razor Crest getting destroyed? Why call it the tragedy? Because Grogu does get in the hands, but obviously it feels like a false defeat, right? He's gonna be rescued in some way, or it's gonna be twisted in some way to where maybe he stays in the hands of the Empire, but not in the way that we see it now. So to call it a tragedy feels weirdly final. But, you know, I think the reason why I'm feeling that kind of like mystery is I really wish we could have seen Pedro Pascal's face for this episode. Because I think had we seen the look of despair on his face, it would have helped us gauge how we should feel the emotional beats of this episode. And there was a moment, if you look at the concept art in the episode at the very end during the credits, you can see that moment where Grogu is being flown up to the cruiser with the Dark Troopers, and the art depicted him being panicked and sobbing. And we don't really get that moment, that shot this episode. It's just you see him through Mando's visor, and it's just happening too fast, and you don't see how scared that kid is. But then I realized the true tragedy, the most human scene, I think, comes at the very beginning before all the action overwhelms us. It's some of the most characterization we get of Din Djarin when it comes to his relationship with the child. There's just this little moment. He is playfully repeating his name just to get him to look up at him again.
Grogu.
And he loves having a name for this kid.
Yeah.
To be able to call him something, to connect with him. And then he tests his force pull abilities. And then when he does it, he goes, "Dank Ferric." He swears in astonishment. And he scares the kid for a bit. And he's be like, no. It's a good thing what I'm doing. But he feels kind of sad because he's explaining to this kid what a lot of parents feel, this profound and very complicated emotion that, a lot of parents go through. It's that feeling of falling short of the needs of the child, of the kid, that you're no longer capable of being a true mentor or father figure, that the kid has kind of outgrown you. And that's kind of a tragic feeling in a way.
Sure.
And Mando has already, of course, declared that he's just trying to transport this child to the Jedi that the kid would be better off with. But in this episode, we see him truly surrender to that fact that he can't really protect this child. He knows Grogu's too powerful, too, connected to these other big, powerful things in the universe. And there's these moments, we see it 3 times. He cannot break through that Jedi barrier to try to protect the kid. You could argue that that barrier even kept that kid more protected than Mando could have. Because there's a force field that, nobody could penetrate. If that force field stayed up for the whole battle, the kid at least would have been okay. It almost felt like a soccer dad who's trying to take his kid out of the game, but the referee's blocking him on the line for the field. No, sir, you got to stay in the bleachers. He's like, I need to get my little boy out of there. He's getting killed in there. He's like, your boy's fine. And then the dad goes, yeah, and then leaves. And then robots come down and take the kid and beam him up to
as most child sporting events go. Yeah.
So I think that, and then the fact that for a lot of the battle, Mando was concussed. He was knocked on the ground from whatever this energy field was. And that tells us that it's not going to help him to try to physically protect this kid. And I think we might look back on this episode and realize this was a moment they became partners, true partners. It's not just a protector and protectee. It's 2 people who are evenly matched in different ways, and it's a Jedi and it's a Mandalorian, and 2 historically sparring forces are able to check and balance each other in cool ways going forward. Here's my question to you, Tommy. Is the tragedy we're really seeing here the coming death of Din Djarin, the Mandalorian? Are we seeing Pedro Pascal's character being phased out? And then Boba Fett or one of these other characters is going to take over as the lead of the show.
Interesting.
Ahsoka Tano, maybe.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I wonder. That would be crazy, right? That would be
pretty ballsy.
That would be pretty amazing. Not unprecedented with these massive shows, though. There are usually 1 season, but so 2 seasons would be even more of a long con, or not long con, but slow play of ultimately this is not a show about the Mandalorian, a different Mandalorian. But I don't know, because I wonder. I feel like Ahsoka Tano is primed to get her own live action Disney Plus show, right? Isn't that doesn't that seem more
she's being primed to take over this show?
Right.
I mean, maybe Tommy, she is being set up as her own spinoff, but she could be set up, and then I could imagine the show doing a thing where Baby Yoda, where Grogu is the Mandalorian of the show going forward. The thing is, I have to go back and look at everything Pedro Pascal has said. There were some debunked rumors that he was fired from the show halfway through the season. I think he has said certain stuff about season 3, but most of the season 3 stuff I've heard has been coming from Filoni and Favreau, of course, and it's come from Moff Gideon. I don't think he'll be thwarted at the end of the season. He's coming back in season 3. I don't know. I could see that, especially since Pedro Pascal, his face is not on the show. That's a big deal. I think he might be able to part ways with it. He's got other stuff in his career that he can move on to.
For sure. And I mean, and what a crazy moment that would be is if he dies in the season finale, and then season 3 we're kind of figuring out who the new quote unquote Mandalorian is going to be. Is that we've met 3 other.
Is it Bo-Katan?
Yeah, I was gonna say we met Bo-Katan and then the other Sasha Banks' character whose name escapes me right now.
Costco Reeves.
Costco Reeves.
Costco. That's where Keanu does the shopping at Costco.
That's right.
Costco Reeves. I don't wait in lines.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
He tries to reach a box off the top shelf. He pulls out his gun and just lays on his back and goes, ah! And then, of course, there's also Sabine Wren, who's somewhere out there.
Right.
She is a Mandalorian as well.
Yeah.
There are ways.
Yeah.
The ultimate tragedy, the reason we're seeing the Razor Crest get destroyed is we're ultimately seeing the death of that Mandalorian in season 3. We'll pass the torch on to a new Mandalorian.
Yes.
We're going to talk more about like some of the deeper questions we had coming out of this episode. Before we do, we want to thank our friends at Manscaped for helping us sponsor it. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, men actually shaved their balls with the same razor as their face. Well, just as the Razor Crest gets destroyed, you need to part ways with that kind of razor and embrace the razors from Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped is here to stop you from looking like Chewbacca down there. Now, for all we know, Mando could be a never nude, but I would imagine that a cool customer like Din Djarin would want to be nice and clean downstairs. Manscaped is forever changing the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0. Inside the Perfect Package, you will find their electric trimmer, the Lawnmower 3.0. This waterproof and skin-safe trimmer will reduce nicks. This is the droid you're looking for. It also includes the Crop Preserver, anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer, the Crop Reviver toner spray, and anti-chafing performance boxer briefs, and a very sharp black color that is downright imperial. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com/Mandalorian. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com/Mandalorian. May the force be with your balls.
Woo! And also with yours.
Okay, Tommy, let's talk about some of the questions we had. First off, what do we think Grogu saw on that seeing stone?
Yeah, he was there for a long time. So, yeah. I mean, the language we got from Ahsoka Tano was he could reach out, right? He could reach out and maybe another Jedi would sense him. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe he was just casting a wide force net into the galaxy to try and get. There aren't many Jedis left, we know. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Part of me wants to see Luke Skywalker. I've seen some really fans have been pitching the theory of Sebastian Stan, who really kind of looks like a young Mark Hamill.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. Enough, I think, that you could totally get away with it. I don't know. Like, that could be interesting. A de-aged Mark Hamill might be too. We could be venturing into the Irishman territory with that. So I almost wouldn't mind a recasting of a younger Luke Skywalker. But I don't know. What do you think?
Well, who are the Jedi who are still out there? Yeah, Luke Skywalker's out there. Mm-hmm. Leia Organa's out there. Obviously, they're not going to bring back any kind of Carrie Fisher, I would say.
Right.
Cal Kestis from Jedi Fallen Order is out there.
And Cameron Monaghan could totally come in and play.
Your buddy Tom Michelson on Rogue Theory last week pitched an awesome theory for what that would look like. Yeah. So I would love to see that. I think if we were to see... with the exception of Cal Kestis, that would be a big move to make him just kind of a recurring character on this show, or to make him a live action character in this universe. They don't normally do that when it comes to characters just from the games, right? They'll do details. They'll do like droids. They'll do ships, weapons from the games. But it's rare to see like a human figure from the games.
Yes.
I think whoever they get, if it's going to be like a short rescue. I think this is going to play into how Grogu is able to get away from Moff Gideon. To have just a hooded figure, and we hear the voice of Mark Hamill, could be one thing. But yeah, I think this is setting up the events of the finale. I think we're going to bring in some Jedi figure. He could have reached out to Ahsoka Tano in that moment. I hope that Ahsoka is not just going to be limited to chapter 13 of this season. She's got to come back in some way. She's such a huge character.
I wonder if the other Jedi that Grogu reaches out to will call on Ahsoka Tano. You know what I mean? Like, say, like, I can't do this alone. I need your help. Yeah. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll be one of those things, kind of the physical embodiment of all of the Force ghosts reaching out to Rey at the end of Rise of Skywalker. Maybe it'll be an actual, like, maybe we'll get like 3 of them. Maybe it'll be like all in cloaks. Maybe just their lightsabers will be what we see or something.
Yeah, it would be exciting to have like a moment like in Attack of the Clones, so you just see all these lightsabers igniting around them in the fighting pit. You know, that was such a cool moment because Jedi had always been kind of a solitary force because, you know, in the original trilogy, they were all but extinct. And in the prequels, the exciting thing was we're seeing a lot of Jedi, and then they just kind of delivered us that moment in Attack of the Clones where it's like, ooh, dozens of Jedi? This is awesome.
Right.
Yeah. It would be cool to have a moment like that, to have multiple Jedi, whoever are left, or just some unknowns, you know? Like, this is an opportunity to introduce a new character that this could have been the character who helped him survive Escape Order 66. Introduce a new wrinkle to it. It doesn't have to be someone we know.
For sure. Yeah. So, all right. What do we think? Why is Boba's explanation of his father Jango's history so important?
Yeah, so this is a big deal. We had suspected that Jango Fett might not be an actual Mandalorian, that he could have been another, you know, appropriator of that armor, just because some leaders of Mandalore considered him an imposter. They considered him a thief of that whole identity. But now you could just say this is what Jango told Boba, and these are just the stories a kid is saying about his dad. But it seemed like this was like a definitive moment. And it was cool to see that. It was cool to see some clarification that Jango Fett was a Mandalorian foundling. So just kind of settling the debate on that. And it makes the story of Boba Fett and the story of Mandalorian one and the same. Both were foundlings. Both of them are owners, rightful owners of this kind of armor.
All right, so why does Mando need Mayfield, Bill Burr's character, to rescue Grogu? Shouldn't he just ask Ahsoka to help?
Well, he absolutely should ask Ahsoka to help. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We got to go back to Ahsoka Tano. Please don't let this be all we see of her in this season. She would be extremely useful in getting there. Now, I'm worried that we're not going to see her just because I think they set up the whole Beskar spear to see Mando fight Moff Gideon with the Darksaber, so that you have two characters who are not force sensitive using these weapons that are evenly matched. I'd be more excited to see Mando and Moff Gideon fight, but I want her to come back. I think she would be useful. When it comes to Bill Burr's character, he was like specifically an expert at breaking into impossible to break in facilities. He is like the guy. I do love this idea that we kind of break him out before we can break Grogu out. It does feel like Act 1 of a Fast and Furious movie.
And I think that you know, it's talk about fan service. People just want that Bill Burr character back for another episode. So it's like, where does that fit in? Oh, perfect. Okay, so important to both of us, I think. With the Razor Crest destroyed, how is Mando going to travel now?
Yeah, I know. That is kind of worrisome, because I don't think he's just going to take over Slave One. I think that would be too confusing for a lot of fans. That is Boba Fett's ship. It should always stay Boba Fett's ship. I don't think he's going to join forces with Boba Fett on the show. I think Boba Fett's arc is going to be these next couple episodes, and then maybe he comes back every now and then after that, because I think just for casual fans, I don't think Favreau and Filoni are going to be like, oh, we'll have two characters who both have the same kind of armor, and they're just flying on a ship together. The green one is Boba Fett, though. Right. Yeah, so he's going to have to get a new ship. It could be some other new badass ship that we just immediately appreciate more. He could kind of rebuild the Razor Crest. I think with the Razor Crest destroyed, this is, you know, again, more evidence that we might see the death of Din Djarin this season, because that it poses an interesting transition, right?
Yeah. My God, the buzz on season 3 would be crazy if they did that.
And then sticking with this question, Tommy, we have, in addition to these characters, we're not sure whether they're coming back in season 3, Boba Fett, Ahsoka Tano, Bo-Katan Kryze, Thrawn. Are these characters only going to appear in season 2? Which of them do you think could join the main cast in season 3, if any?
I think Thrawn for sure. Because I don't know that we're going to even see him. Maybe at the end of this, what do we got? 2 episodes left for this season?
Yeah.
I could see maybe at the end of the finale, like the cut or the post-credit scene being the visual introduction of Thrawn. I think he's going to be a huge part of season 3. And I also think, I think all of them are going to be back for season 3. You know, I would be shocked if we didn't see any of them. The people I think Bo-Katan and Thrawn are certainly going to be bigger parts of season 3 than they were for season 2, in my mind.
Yeah, I think the way Filoni is doing this is similar to how he did it on Rebels and Clone Wars, where like characters aren't in every single episode. They come and they go, and then they're revisited. He believes in a Star Wars universe where you can just kind of bounce around to different planets, and it's not.
And it makes it feel more linear. It makes it feel more like a movie than a TV show when it's like you go away for 45 minutes or so from these characters, and then they'll come back, and then it feels like the pacing of it is more cinematic than telematic.
Yeah. So they all still exist in this world unless they die. So I have a feeling that that Boba Fett might be a short-term thing. Ahsoka and Thrawn are obviously coming back either on this show or their own spin-off miniseries or something like that. I do think Bo-Katan is coming back on the show. I think the fact that she is a Mandalorian, that is kind of the theme of the show. I think she's coming back.
I think she has to. I mean, they have a common enemy in Moff Gideon, and she represents more of some more answers. She's on her own arc to retake Mandalore, and we're going to see that at some point on the show. Okay, well, now here's another segment of Mandos and Mandon'ts. It's our corrections corner, where we quickly recap the theories, predictions for past weeks we got right, others we got wrong. Starting with a Mando. Yes, good. We did predict, as did many. A lot of people thought this was going to be the case. Boba Fett was the one who rescued Fennec Shand at the end of Chapter 5. I could see her betraying Boba Fett and Din Djarin.
Right now she seems like she's just kind of grateful to Boba Fett in the way that like Jar Jar was grateful to Qui-Gon for saving him. Like, I'm in your service now. But she is her own badass bounty hunter. She might not necessarily think this whole rescue mission is worth it.
Right. I don't think it would be like treachery. It would be more self-saving.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so a man don't. We suggested Boba Fett must not care about getting his armor back since he was in the same vicinity as Cobb Vanth for years and years and didn't bother trying to get it before. But obviously he did want it back. All it took was for someone else to try to run away with it, someone more deadlier at protecting it than Cobb Vanth was, to fly away to another planet and then to chase him down to that other planet and then get it back.
Yeah. I want to know where he parked the Slave One, because that had to have been a pretty massive bill when he was like, I haven't used this in several decades. So I'm going to have to pay for parking and get it out. So what is it? $30 a day.
I still have so many questions about Boba Fett. How did he get out of the Sarlacc? What has he been doing? Was he the one hanging out with Tusken Raiders at the beginning? I don't know if we're going to get answers to those questions because I don't know if his whole backstory was that thought out clearly. If he was okay with Cobb Vanth having his armor for years. Cobb Vanth is an idiot. That guy he stumbled across it, tired thanks to having some money to trade with Jawas. He barely was protecting that town on Tatooine. Boba Fett could have gone in there and wrecked him at any point. And he must have known where it was if he knew to watch Mando fly away, unless he had no idea that town was there. The Krayt Dragon kerfuffle is what got his attention. And then he's like, oh, shit, that's my armor. All right, I'm going to follow it now. Like, it poses a lot of questions.
Yes.
But something we can take credit for, we did correctly identify Moff Gideon's troopers as dark troopers. Those are, heavily armored attack droids. They were not like force-sensitive human troopers who might want Baby Yoda blood to wield lightsabers. That's not what it was. They were just these awesome droids, like Iron Giants, as Tommy said, but not caring for children.
But not with Vin Diesel's voice.
I did wonder, why did they send in human stormtroopers in there and not just send in a couple dark troopers into Grogu's chamber when he was wrecking it? I think it was just for the gag of seeing these things get ragdolled around the room.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like there was some scene where the dark troopers are like, here is a child, you take custody of him now, and they're like, okay, we got it, thanks guys, and then they got choked.
I think it's the same impulse that had Moff Gideon send to kind of barges full of stormtroopers to just basically get picked off by as a diversion. Like, it just shows more of Moff Gideon's like zero regard for life, right? Like, he's like, send these troopers in to guard the child, knowing full well that they're going to get absolutely destroyed by him. Like, because
maybe it was a test. Yeah, maybe it was like, I just want to make sure he is force sensitive.
There was like a little twinge in the when Grogu was using his force powers on the troopers. The music kind of almost went into Anakin Skywalker's theme from the prequels whenever he would do something that hinted towards a turn to Vader. Like, there was like a little, I'm sure it was just me listening for it, but I almost thought,
it was probably there.
I almost thought for a second like it was like Moff Gideon seeing like, is this perhaps a compromisable force user? Like, is this someone that we could get to go to the dark side? Or I don't know, but
one last thing I want to own up for, obviously, with the Razor Crest destroyed, the videos I made about the Rise of Skywalker where I suggested it kind of looks like the Razor Crest among the Resistance fleet, either parked on the planet or in the big shot of all the ships together. Yeah, nope, that's not the case now if the Razor Crest went boom, boom.
Right. Although, it is kind of like, I have seen movies before where like the big thing at the end is that they fix the car, that gets destroyed. Right, so there is, I wonder if there's a moment where like Boba Fett's parting gift to Mando is like, and here's the Razor Crest completely rebuilt that I somehow had the blueprints for.
Well, that would be nuts. Or it could have just been a thing like the artists from these movies just like drag and drop. Like, I think some people say in the background they put one of the Trade Federation battleships in the background. Those wouldn't be around.
No.
So maybe it was that, or maybe it just wasn't there. But one last reminder that you can get our New Rockstars merch at newrockstarsmerch.com. We got a bunch of great options there. But that is it for this episode of Wookieeleaks. I will be going through this episode frame by frame in tomorrow's video. Some of you will never understand that because some of you only look at episode length and the thumbnail, click on it, see it's me and Tommy, and are immediately confused. And don't wait for an explanation. You just start commenting. Subscribe to New Rockstars on YouTube, though. Also, subscribe to the Wookieeleaks podcast feed wherever you get your podcast to get audio versions of the show. I'll be back tomorrow with the Easter egg breakdown. We're going to leave you with our favorite Grogu moment of the episode.